Portia goes into labor, and this baby is not waiting for anyone. Oh, darlings, grab onto something, because this first story is the kind that is going to have you holding your breath from the very first moment and not letting it go until you know that mama and baby are safe. Portia is going into labor.
Right now.
In that big house. Alone. And this little one has absolutely no interest in waiting for anyone to get there first. Let us set the scene exactly as the weekly preview gave it to us, because every detail matters. Portia is in the house she and Curtis once shared. The house that now holds memories of a marriage that has been fracturing under the weight of everything that has happened between them. She grabs her stomach. She cries out in pain. She braces herself against whatever is nearest because her body has just made a very firm announcement that the time has come and nobody asked for her permission. She says it out loud. This baby is coming right now. And she is alone. At least as far as we can tell from what we were shown. No Curtis rushing to her side. No Isaiah nearby. No best friend or colleague or anyone positioned to help her through what is about to happen. Just Portia, a woman who has delivered babies in controlled hospital settings with every resource available, now facing the prospect of delivering her own child on the floor of her own home with towels and her own medical knowledge as her only assets. Now Portia is a doctor. And that matters enormously here, because the knowledge she carries about what the body needs in these moments, what the warning signs of real danger look like, what steps to take when things go sideways, that knowledge lives in her hands and her instincts regardless of the circumstances. She is not a helpless woman in this situation, even though she is alone. She is a trained medical professional who happens to also be a terrified mother. And those two things are going to have to work together to get this baby safely into the world. The drama does not end with the birth itself. It is just beginning. Because whoever arrives in that house after the baby comes is going to walk into a situation charged with everything this family has been carrying. If Curtis gets there, if he is the one holding his child for the first time in that chaotic, unplanned, emotionally raw moment, something between them might shift. Births have a way of cutting through everything else, of making the things that felt enormous suddenly feel smaller than the miracle happening right in front of you. But if Isaiah arrives first, if the man who told Curtis he would be a better father to this child is the one standing in that room when the baby takes its first breath, the implications of that are going to reverberate through every relationship in this web for a very long time. Whatever happens in that house today, darlings, one thing is certain. This baby is making an entrance that nobody in Port Charles is going to forget. Laura makes a bold move, and Tracy absolutely loses her mind. Now, darlings, let us talk about a power play that is unfolding at General Hospital itself, because the hospital board is about to become the next battleground in a war that has been quietly building between people who each believe, with complete conviction, that they know what is best for this institution. And the choice Laura has made for a vacant board seat is going to send Tracy into a spiral that is going to be absolutely spectacular to watch. Here is what we know from the preview. Elizabeth is thrilled. She is standing in that hospital in her scrubs calling someone's appointment to the board brilliant, and when Elizabeth calls something brilliant, it means it connects directly to the well-being of the hospital and the patients inside it. She is not playing politics here. She genuinely believes this is the right move for the people this hospital serves. And Tracy is screaming, standing somewhere in Port Charles asking whoever is responsible if they have completely lost their mind. Now, Tracy screaming is not unusual. Tracy has strong feelings about many things and expresses those feelings at significant volume. But the specific combination of Elizabeth thrilled and Tracy furious points very clearly in one direction. Willow is being put forward for the hospital board. Now, before you form your full opinion on this, let us consider the actual practical case for it. Willow is a congresswoman. She has access to federal funding channels that most board members can only dream of. She has relationships with the agencies that control healthcare funding at the national level. She has mentioned specifically wanting to push for daycare funding connected to the hospital, which would benefit working families across Port Charles in a very real and tangible way. As a board member with congressional reach, she could do things for General Hospital that nobody else currently in that building can do. Elizabeth sees all of that and finds it genuinely exciting, because Elizabeth cares about what this hospital can do for people. She is not thinking about Chase or Brooklyn or the personal dramas swirling around Willow. She is thinking about what a congresswoman on the board means for the future of this institution. Tracy, of course, is thinking about all of those personal dramas. Tracy is thinking about Brooklyn, about Chase, about every uncomfortable moment that has happened in that house connected to Willow's presence in their lives. And Tracy is going to fight this with everything she has, including, based on her history, possibly some things she does not technically have the right to use. But here is the complicating factor that Tracy may not be fully weighing. If General Hospital needs funding, and Willow can deliver it, the other board members are going to see that clearly. And no amount of Tracy being loudly opposed is going to override the practical reality of what Willow brings to that table. This battle is just getting started. And it is going to be one of the most entertaining board meetings Port Charles has ever produced. Brooklyn and Chase at the breaking point, and what comes next? And now, darlings, we close this week with the storyline that is sitting heaviest on the hearts of everyone watching, because what is happening between Brooklyn and Chase is genuinely painful. Not in the way that soap drama is sometimes painful, constructed and theatrical, and designed to produce maximum shock. Painful in the real, quiet way that comes from watching two people who genuinely love each other discover that love is not always enough to bridge every gap. Let us be honest about something that the show has been building toward for a while now. Brooklyn was not wrong about what she saw happening. She was not imagining it. Chase has a blind spot when it comes to Willow that is real, that is documented, and that has cost his marriage in ways he kept refusing to acknowledge until the cost became impossible to ignore. Brooklyn watched her husband defend his ex with a ferocity he never quite turned in her direction. She asked him to pull back. He did not. She asked again. He did not. And eventually, frightened and exhausted and feeling herself losing the man she loves to someone she cannot compete with, she did something she should not have done. She was wrong to frame Willow. The method was wrong. The execution was wrong. Using Lucy, manipulating GPS evidence, putting someone through a legal ordeal they did not deserve. All of it wrong. But the fear underneath it? The terror that her husband will always choose someone else over her? That was not manufactured. That was real. And now Chase is angry. Rightfully angry. He is sitting with the knowledge that his wife constructed a frame up against a person he cares about. And the fact that he is so passionately furious on Willow's behalf, more visibly upset about what happened to Willow than he is focused on what drove Brooklyn to that point, is itself evidence of the exact problem Brooklyn was trying to solve. He cannot see it. He genuinely cannot see it. And that inability is possibly the most heartbreaking part of this entire situation. Chase has promised himself he is going to pull back, that he is going to put boundaries in place, that he is going to be the husband Brooklyn deserves and stop letting Willow consume his attention and his energy and his protective instincts. And he means it. He genuinely means it in this moment. But intentions and patterns are different things. And Chase has a pattern with Willow that has survived every previous attempt to address it. Whether this time is different, whether the shock of what Brooklyn did and what it reveals about how close she was to breaking is enough to make the change stick, is the question that is going to define this marriage going forward. Brooklyn is doing her own reckoning. She is looking at the man she married and beginning to see, with painful clarity, that she may always be second in his heart to someone who was there first. That is not a comfortable place to live. And the question of whether she stays and fights for something that keeps pulling away from her, or whether she steps back and considers what her own life looks like with a little more of her own dignity intact, is going to be one of the most emotionally honest conversations this show has this summer. She is not a villain. She was a frightened woman who made a terrible choice. And watching her figure out what to do next, whether to hold on or let go, whether to keep fighting for a marriage that may already be past saving, or find out who she is when she stops trying so hard to keep something that may not want to stay, that is where the real drama lies. Port Charles is holding so much this week, darlings. A baby arriving in the most chaotic and beautiful way possible. A power struggle erupting in a hospital boardroom. And two people who love each other standing on opposite sides of a crack that keeps getting wider. Every story in the city right now is alive with something real. Something that reaches past the drama and touches something human underneath it. And that That is what General Hospital has always done better than anyone.